So is that what you want? Oh, hold on. Cut the camera. And that genuine Tudor is Salisbury Hall. Well, down there, that's the old hall down there. We haven't took you in there yet. That was the first part of Salisbury Hall. Whoa, look at that. Oh, hold on. Cut the camera. Oh, didn't see it there. It's me, Thomas Edward, and I had to go and change my boots because I thought it was more appropriate. My black boots, and I had my proper Catesby brown boots there, and the proper TE showbiz boots, what don't get seen on the channel, even though it's the real TE, that is. And today we're in the deepest, darkest Lancashire. Come and see a bit of proper genuine Tudor, and that genuine Tudor is Salisbury Hall. And what a grand place it is. Now, Salisbury Hall is very famous for its ghosts and what goes bump in the night, but we're not here to look at that. Maybe a little bit, we'll touch on a little bit, but not all of it. What we're going to look at is the actual architecture of the building and some of the quirks and the features, what people do look at, but when they do ghost tours, they don't necessarily look at it, even though the famous tour guide from here, Simon Entwistle, talks about a lot of its features and a lot of its...
Welcome to another episode of Tales from the Grave, coming to you from the beautiful Grade 1 listed building known as Salisbury Hall. We're going to make our way inside and hear stories of ghosts, murders and mysteries. Welcome to Tales from the Grave.
All its panelling and different bits in the different rooms and the fireplaces, it almost does more ghosts than the actual architecture. So we're here, Thomas Edward is here today to actually look at those features and just have a good mooch with TE. And we might even, I think Rod's come with me, so we might see Rod in a bit. But we'll go and have a look and show you each room and tell you a bit of history about about Salisbury Hall. Salisbury Hall is very, very old, but not all of it, only one part. That part over there is known as the Old Hall, what's the proper genuine article, as they'd say. When the hall was built, it's 13, I think there's 2 dates, 2 years, you go in the hall and it says it's 1325 it's built, but if you watch a Simon Entwistle, so this is not advertising Simon Entwistle by any chance, but I do love watching his videos, they're very interesting. He will say it's 1322. But I'll give you those 2 years and someone will tell me which is right. That over there is the oldest part, 1300s, and that's the Old Hall as they know, and it's apparently when it was first built it had a moat around it because the Southworths who owned it originally, he had Lower Salisbury Hall, what was down on the River Ribble. What was down on the River Ribble, and when the Scots came down and caused havoc in Clitheroe, and they burnt all the big houses on the river and everything else. The big manor house got burnt down, but because he had so much dosh, he chose a new land, and this was here, this land here, and that he built that there, and he built a moat around it, so if the Scots came again, they'd have to swim across the moat, or they probably had a drawbridge, so somewhere around there was a moat originally. Well, that's how the tale goes anyway. But as the years went on, it got extended, and the first extension was this wing here. And now this was done in late 1400s, early 1500s, this extension here, and this extension consists of a parlour. Well, if you don't know what a parlour is, it's almost like what we have today is our front room where our TV is. But we have a parlour, There's a gallery upstairs, there's a chapel on the end, and a reception room, because the Southworths were proper hardened Catholics, they were. So that was a very fitting extension for their home. And the most interesting sort of big history, what everyone will go on about with Salisbury, if you can hear me over all the traffic, because as I say, there's a big main road next to us now, and back in the 1300s and 1400s, that wouldn't be there. There'd be a few pony and traps on there, and that will be a lot, but now you're getting big wagons and tractors. The biggest history on Salisbury Hall, they all go on about, it was a safe haven for priests, because the Southworths were proper hardened Catholics. The priests who were always, when King Henry VIII went against all the Catholics and stuff, and he went out and sort of stopped it, the priests were in very much dangerous sort of land, so they all had to go and hide. That's where we get the priest hole. Salisbury Hall has quite a few priest holes, because the first family, the Southworths, this was their safe haven, so the priests would come here and they'd hide them away in lots of different priest holes, and but in the end, the army cottoned on where these priests were going and hiding, what was here, and they watched it. Telehandler coming past now, we're just going to get... Oh, he just had a dog. Just had a tongue. He was like, oh, TE. Yeah, now let me get back to the point where we're getting sidetracked and we're going off the what I'm telling you about. So the army looked at this place and said, oh, they're hiding priests there. So, and they watched it, and one priest came over. I think he came over on the boat, and he landed on land, and he came inland, and he came here, and they hid him in the priest hole in that little wing there. Actually, what you'll be able to see, and. They watched him, and they came in and they actually crucified him in that little priest hole, and there's lots of gory ghost stories and all sorts about blood in the floor, but we're not going to go into that, but I thought I'd give you an overview. So in the parlour, what's in there, they had a very famous priest hole. What's behind the fireplace, a massive fireplace, we'll show you that, but it was designed by Nicholas Owen, who was a very famous priest hole designer and builder, as you'd say, and there's some priest holes in the manor houses still in England today what no one knows exists, because he was so he's so good at making hidden priest holes, and it like lowered ceilings and all sorts of places, like the one what's in here. It's behind the fireplace where you won't think is actually like there'd be a handle and it'd open like a proper trap door. So it's got an interesting past, and that's just the first family, and then after that a guy bought it. I think it was two guys bought it, and it was more of an investment, and the panelling got ripped out of it and some of the features, and he went up to Ulverston in Cumbria, TE's homeland, and it actually got rented out when they had it, and the old hall actually got turned into a cattle shed. Also, it ended up being a hand loom factory as well. And then after them, another big family came in. I was just seeing some blue lights then. The Harrisons went in it, and Mrs. Harrison turned it into a school for 10 years, and then her husband put more money into it. A lot of money's gone into this. It's a wooden building at the end of the day, so it's a lot of rock will come all over the years, so you really got to put cash into it to make it keep going. And then when Joseph Harrison died, he gave it to his youngest son, liked spending cash, and he spent quite a lot of cash, and he'd have Charles Dickens round here giving him private sort of party and a speech. He'd spend a lot of cash, but one day the Scottish banks collapsed and he lost a lot of money, and all that depression of losing all that money because he couldn't spend it anymore, he shot himself in the gallery upstairs, and the bullet from the revolver what he used is still in the mantelpiece, and that's another ghost story. What he says he likes blonde women and pointy hair. But this is not a history, this is not a ghost video, by the way, I'm just giving you an overview. And then after the Harrisons, one guy had it late 1800s to early 1900s when he died, and then after that, for over 20 years, it lay derelict for a lot of years, and it was collapsing, the gallery was collapsing, it had fires in it and all sorts. And then a load of builders bought it, because they wanted it for all the wood and the materials to build buildings outside of the area. But on the 11th hour, as Simon Entwistle would say, the 11th hour, the Salisbury Preservation Society took it over and saved it, and that's how we know it today. And now it makes its money from Kath's wedding. Overnight came here, they'd probably give him a bit of cash for doing ghost tours. All sorts of stuff happens now to keep it running, and it hasn't been a house that lasts over 100 years, you know, and that's when the last sort of people lived in it. But since then it's been emptied. But we're going to go and look at the features in it and the wood panelling and all this, you know, and how it's standing today in 2022. So we'll go and have a mooch. This is the parlour. This is in the modern day we'd have TV in here and there'd be football on and whatever else going. But this is sort of your main front room, the parlour. I like the parlour. It's a good name, isn't it? Parlour rolls nicely off the tongue, parlour. But the main feature in this room is obviously it's wood. You can see all wood floorboards upstairs, and every oak frames, wood oak window frames, and everything. You know, everything smells as you. You know, it always has a smell of wine and leather. That's what old houses always smell like. You know, all this, it's like a Welsh dresser almost, that is. But the main feature in this room is the fireplace. So first, as I say, it's a donation, so I've got my pound there. There you go, nice font. What was I saying here? Nicholas Owen designed this, he did a pre-soul in this fireplace, and we're just talking to a guy, and he thinks it's on that side, but Simon Outwhistle thinks it's on this side. It had a big lever inch, and it opened back, and it's in there as a pre-soul, and up here, there's all like breathing holes, so when you're behind there, you can keep alive, kind of thing. But we'll best get out the guy's way because he's doing a bit of maintenance. So we're going to show you at rest at house. So that was one priest hole, and we get two priest holes next. And up there, that's another priest hole in another fireplace, but a smaller fireplace. Olight torch, not sponsored by Olight. And in there's another priest hole. Only tiny. So that's the second priest hole and this big fine grand house. And then behind us, in here, this is the chapel and a reception room. And nowadays, because they have this, because it has to keep its upkeep of doing weddings, this is actually used as the way you get married in here. So TE one day could get married in here, maybe. And this is where they do it now. And up there is a balcony, what looks over from the end of the gallery, up there. But so there was a big wood panelling bit over here, what the priest would go and get ready behind. And that wood panelling is in a house in Ulverston. So a lot of the features got took out, and the guys after the Southworths got it. After King Henry VIII stripped him of all the assets and he lost the house, two guys bought it, and one of the guys stripped this wood panelling out of it, and it went up to Ulverston, it went to TE land. But we'll go upstairs and show you the gallery and the other priest hole what's upstairs. So this is the balcony looking over the chapel. We were just down there before. It's quite a long drop down there, and you can see it's all been modernised to put lights in it for weddings and functions. As the modern world goes, you've got to keep its upkeep, so you've got to put all order kit in, but yeah, it's a long way down there. I'm sure that's quite a popular photography spot for when you do weddings from up here. There's some guy up there, and you can see Main Road through there. Well, obviously, would have had a few pony and traps back when it was built. Not even that. But now it's got a big, busy main road on it. Even though it's a dead old building and it's got single pane glass everywhere, and that road's dead busy, actually isn't that loud. You'd think it'd be a lot louder than it is. But so we could live here quite happily. So this up here is the main gallery. Now this is part of that. You know, the parlours below us. Down there is the parlour, and this was the first extension of the hall. And the most important thing in here, well, obviously look at it is the first thing. Look at it. It's mega. You could have you could do much TE greatness in here. I could put a big model railway in here. I could have it as only sofas in it. Anyway, we could have lots of TE ideas, or it could be a TE studio. But in here, the main part, what everyone goes on about, is that. And that is a bullet from a revolver, where the youngest son of the Harrison shot himself here for the head, and it went through his head and went in there, and it's still there. And he apparently he sort of hides up on the roof and watches you, apparently. But we're not here to sort of talk too much about that, but it's another grand fireplace. And obviously that's part of the history of all the families. Each family what's been here, there's bits of stuff what they've left, what you can still see today. And then up here, well, down there, that's the old hall down there. We haven't took you in there yet. That was the first part of Salisbury Hall. The third priest hall is up there. And you've got a little light on, sort of hidden away. And also this was sort of the hideaway as well. And people, this has a lot of tales, this room does. Just think, Dan Dixon from Exploring Fighters is sat in here on that little chair on an overnight video. That's how nerdy fan base you can get if you're a big fan of Dan's. And overnight, Alton's been in here, you know, from America. But a lot of people have been here over the years, and people feel dizzy and sick and all sorts of things in here. And on the TE theories, the floor's not entirely plumb, it's sloping. Here, up here is higher than down there. But the big common story of this room is the floorboards. Isn't original floorboards, there's a port B there. Isn't original floorboards because the original floorboards had stained blood of a priest on it, and they couldn't get rid of it, and they bricked up the room. And then when I think Harrison's got it, he unbricked it, and they had to port B. They had to put new flooring in because this blood wouldn't disappear. So that's what the main tale is. We'll have to get some sugar for that B. He just doesn't look very happy. Poor B. It's probably being swatted by something. He's landing down there, or we'll go and get a leaf or something, a bit of paper, or we'll get him out on something. That little hole there. Yeah. So we just had to chuck camera off and rescue a big bumblebee, and you probably see a bit of footage. We put him in there, or she, and went through that little hole there and went outside. We were very tired. It's a shame we didn't have any wet sugar to feed it, because wet sugar is very good for bees because they need the energy back. They get the little antennas in and suck it up. So, but he or she has gone out of there. And hopefully they'll be all right. But anyway, this is the priest room, and the priest hall is next door to this. And as you can see, it's not built like a normal wall as we do with plastering things into the modern day. It's a waddled and a daub sort of walling all the way throughout the whole of the place, and obviously when it was derelict for years and years it would have been like that all the way through. So when they saved it, they probably had to do a hell of a lot of work, and over the years all the different owners have spent lots and lots of money on it, so it's always had money spent on it. It's like having a classic car at Russ, you always got to keep spending money on it. So this is, they've got a little schoolroom set up here in this bit, private school. And then here they've got it set out like the 1930s, 40s sort of era. There, all little pictures and little clock. We've got a clock like that at home. It's very tea-esque in here. It's very like the tea empire in here. Similar furniture. Singer sewing machine over here. We got one of these. Me mum teas. Mum has one of them at home. Not on a proper, with a pedestal underneath, not on the table, but we've got one of them. And I've got a side cupboard like that. I've actually got one of them in my room. It's very similar to the tea towers in here. But yeah, they've sort of done a period look on this room. It's quite nice. So one of the things to note in this room is this little feature here is like it's not a feature of any, it's not part of this unit originally. It's been stuck on its little GoPro mount. And I have a sneaky suspicion that could have been where Overnight left it, but it could be from another ghost as well. It could be from Most Haunted, maybe. Who knows? But you'd have that set up here, looking in here to see what spooky goes on in the night, kind of thing.
Little room for two for me and you will never do to pill and coo and look out on the avenue. Just a little kitchenette with table set makes...
I'll come back downstairs because I'm going to show you the old hall, the original part, but I thought I'll come and sit in this chair because I'm sure Simon Entwistle sat in this very chair 2 years ago on a film on YouTube. I think he's feel the vibe. Pretty good.
What a lovely comfy chair.
There you go, this is the main hall. This is what the old hall, as they call it, because this is the original 1300s sort of part of the house. And this is like a medieval banquet hall, and it's the fire what's over there apparently used to be in the middle and go up through middle of the house. Apparently up there, so obviously then it's been redesigned and removed, and the chimney stack's gone over there. But this room here apparently was used when the second people got hold of it after the Selfworths, the two guys who got it. This was turned into a cattle shed to fly-by-night people. They put cattle in here, and it was also a handloom factory in here as well. So it's been a number of features. And that up there is where the priest hole was, where we rescued the bee. It's in there, it's behind that. Up there's the priest hole behind that ceiling. Interesting stuff. Now we come to one of the last features in the hall. Got some old pictures there, so we look. So this is the kitchen, and now this also reminds me of the TE Towers. You must think I live in a grand manor house. I don't. I just live in a really old sort of Victorian house, what's sort of the same sort of era. And this big oven here and this half is very tea towers, but obviously we've got a smaller scale. But yeah, you see with all your hot plates on top here, and you can open that, and you can stoke it up and stuff, and on there, and you got your irons here, and all your pots and pans. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, Victorian cook. Yeah. So this is sort of the period of our house. This is at home, very similar, but obviously this is a much grander scale than what we've got. But obviously that's 1930 sort of table that is, and chairs. And all the different cupboards and all the different things you'd use. And do your washing here, and your cleaning the floors with that, and your mango and everything. And the whole shebang's in here. And there's a mincer here where you put your meat through there, and you wind it out, and it comes out in all little bits of chunks. And you've got cheese grate there, and your hot water bottle there. T.E.'s mum still uses them. She got 2 of them in her bed. And the cameraman actually fixed it and put a new seal on there. That's a very fancy one, that is, with detail around the way you fill it up. It's pretty good. T.E. Wow, yeah. And this chair, we actually have one of them with the same colour. See, yeah, it's very. See, T.E. lives in quite an old school house. It's this is classed as modern in my mind. There's no fancy glittery sofas or anything in our house. It's very much an old school house. All this is very much where we live. So I like all this. It's good. Reminds me of an old farm kitchen. This does. Very tall ceiling and very, very cold on a winter's day, and very echoey. It just reminds me of a few old Cumbrian farms in here. But obviously this is in Lancashire, and this is a Lancashire kitchen. But yeah, pretty good. And a sideboard there. Oh look, steam engines. The locomotive and some of its numerous parts. Can't beat having a kitchen with a book with steam engines in it. Can't beat that. Every kitchen should have a book with a steam engine. And I might show you when we get home, our kitchen or our dining room has a few books with steam engines in, or diesels, what show you how they work. You know, that's how close this kitchen is to our kitchen. It's quite amazing, really, if you think about it. And obviously this bit we're in, obviously, is the servants' quarters. So all these little rooms, there's a double door down there, like not a highway, but it's a double door. It separates the servants from the higher class. So they go around there and they all through it in, probably up these back staircase here. That was probably servants' quarters up there. Well, you can't get up there because it's locked off. And round the corner there's toilets, but this would have been all quarters for servants. And along here, see all these hooks for along here. I bet they had a bell system along here. They might have done, but they could have had a bell system along here with all the different suites and rooms. And they go ding, 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 and it'd be ringing with all different ropes going up there. They might have not had any here, but they could have done. A bit like Downton Abbey. But obviously you've got all these hooks here. So it's all very grand in Samlesbury Hall. But I think we'll go and have a mooch around. So we're in the rose garden, but I was just asking cameraman, what's this classed as? Is this classed as the front of the house or the back of the house? Because obviously it's looking sort of west, isn't it, that way? Which side is it classed as? But it's a proper grand view from this side. It's not the block. It's not the proper Tudor look on this side. It's proper sort of later sort of 1700s, 1800s sort of look on this side. With the big chimney stacks and all the roofs, and that's the main one there with the priest hole, what Nicholas Owen designed is in that one, and that the guy's renovating it as we speak. He's doing a bit of, I was going to say scrub-a-dub-dub, but he's doing a bit of paint-a-dub-dub on the back, painting it. He's restoring it to its former glory. And then there, the other, the one next to it, that's got a priest hole in that one. And then there's another fireplace in the chapel, and then there's a fireplace there, and that fireplace is actually in the toilets. That's in the ladies' toilets, that fireplace there. But yeah, this is a rose garden. Every bit of plant or the flowers are planted for various history and various families what have lived here. It's sort of like remembrance almost. And if you look at it from upstairs, that middle flower bed is like the clover leaf sort of design. line of like sort of the crest kind of thing, you know, and it's all sort of dotted out. It's very good actually, but we're going to go and try and find the bus stop for tell you a story. Well, I'll tell you a bit of history anyway. It's all chained off. Wonder where it is. Whoa! Whoa! Look at that! Do you see that? An MGZR. An MGZR's just come past. The cameraman totally missed it. It went past as he pointed camera. It was all rusty going off and it was all dirty. Yeah. You see, this here is the A59. This is. It's like the main road from the M6 going to Blackburn. You know, the M6 is down there and Blackburn is up there. And it's very, very busy and there's lots of cars on it, and I've just seen a pickup towing a trailer with an Audi R8, a supercar on it. There's a bit of dosh hangs around Lancashire. You don't realise it really, but there's a bit of cash knocks about, and it isn't made by having a mill anymore. It's made by having a food restaurant mainly, I think, in Lancashire. That's the main money marketing sort of thing now. So in those mingle mangle nights in the summer or in deepest darkest winter around here where it's very, very dark, there's a ghost of a white lady on this road, and people think they have to swerve round it, or the bus stops her to pick her up and obviously she disappears and so forth. And it's the ghost of Lady Dorothy, who was the daughter of the Southworths, who was the first owner of Salisbury Hall. And she died a very sort of sad and sort of a broken heart sort of death. And it's because on this road here, I think it's near a big tree somewhere around here, or it might have been when obviously when they widened the road, they probably cut it down, of her lover, who, whatever, but a truck there, got murdered by, I think it was by her brothers or something like that. They murdered her lover because they were here at Salisbury Hall, the Southwards are hardened Catholics, and over across there at Holton Hall is actually in the TE family tree. Holton Hall is, so it's probably some of my ancestors who were Protestants, who are obviously a different religion compared to Catholics, and obviously this here didn't want it to mix, and they didn't want it in their family kind of thing, as it goes, and it still happens today in certain families. They said no, you can't marry him and so forth, and her brothers killed this lover on here somewhere, and many years later, when they widened this road or did some work, they found the skeleton of this lover on the ground with a big diamond, and this big diamond he brought over from Holton Tower to give to Lady Dorothy to say, will you marry me? And on that night when he said, will you marry me, her brothers came and killed him because he was going to take Dorothy away from him, and and she's a Catholic, and anyway, it's a long story. It's one of those tales where it's very sticky family, very sticky family situations. Where if it happened today, we'd get looked at being sort of nosy in other people's business, but now it's turned into a great legend because it's got ghosts around it. So pretty much, the white lady, Lady Dorothy, is seen on this road at night time. So when you come in driving down here, the A59, you might see her on one of those mingle mangle, as he'd say, midsummer murder nights. So yeah. That's pretty much the whole tour of Salisbury Hall with a rough history and a few looking at the features, but we'll go back round and I'll go and see if I can find Rod. I know he's in the car, but I could hear him in the background when I was filming this. I could hear a few ravens or crows, but he's not a crow, he's a raven, sort of sounding off in the background, so I best go and see if he's okay. So is that what you want? It's a bit small. I don't think I'd fit in it. Oh, it's just for you. Right, okay. Oh, and Kenny. He's just looking at his new home, Rod is. He fancies that one. He doesn't really fancy it big, and it's a bit big for him. Wants that one there. Well, it's a nice little, that's what we know, and that's the real Tudor. That's mock Tudor, that is. And you're going to have a bit of mock Tudor and I'll have a bit of genuine, eh? Yeah? Yeah. Anyway, he'll share it with Kenny. Kenny's his best friend, Kenny. There's a few dodgy dealings, I think, with Kenny. I don't quite trust Kenny. He comes and goes, but you never really see him that much. Yeah. Anyway, well, this is the end of me Salisbury Hall video. Yours truly, T and Rod. I found him in the car. He's been waiting for me, haven't you? I think you've even had a cup of tea without me, haven't you? Yeah. So he's all for himself, Rod. Yeah. Anyway, this is me ending. I hope you enjoyed it. So give us a like and a comment. Always comment below, because if you comment, I get to talk to someone. Yeah, I like talking more than anything else. If you've watched my videos, I like a good chat. So drop me a comment below and give me a big fat like, so you like the video. And give me a subscribe, because we're over 1,400. No, 1,400, not 1,200, 1,400. So we're getting up more showbiz. We're going up the ladder. And I don't know how I'm going to do my ending, because you might have to help me, Rod. You know what the ending is, don't you? You do? It's the big bell. All right, okay, so you do. Right, so remember to click that big bell. Ding!